So we're going to be reviewing the iPhone 5C today. The iTunes fanboys here, and whether or not you should still buy it or not, and then we'll explain how and why this phone failed. So let's get started. So the first aspect we'll take a look at is the design. So as you can tell, you got 4 color options, being white, blue, yellow, green, and pink. So you got a plastic design, which is partly how this phone failed, and I'll explain more about that later. See, this is the final app. So security-wise, you don't get anything else other than the basic home button because you didn't get Touch ID unlike the iPhone 5S. So now we're going to take a look at performance. So you guys can see the performance of this phone. So first up, we're going to load Safari. I'm just going to make sure it's not going to load. These aren't going to load up anything personal. Now we're going to load Apple's website and see how long that takes. And while we're at it, so as you can tell, we're going to go ahead and have a stopwatch right here. So we're going to go ahead and have the these phones are taking, I think the iPhone 2G may be faster than this. Good land, these are slow. Okay, so we get the image. These phones are ridiculously slow. This one runs iOS 10, this one runs iOS 8. So let's just show you this in settings. The iOS 8 phones tends to be freezing a lot for some reason. Because as you can tell, this one runs 10.3.3. I have another white 16 gig one too. This one was downgraded via Nightshade. This one was too. So now let's talk price for a minute. So the price. So the price when it first came out was so you're gonna see how long this takes. These phones start at 99 bucks when they were new, and then they were free of contracts, but you can only get 8 gig models, and both of these are 8 gig models. Let's just search up iPhone 5C to see how expensive they are. So you got the options for 16 and 32 gig models back when it first came out. And I'll explain more about the pricing. So you can normally get these from, if you find a good deal, you can get these from anywhere from 25 to 40 bucks. These are basically iPhone 5s, but in this weird plasticky shell. They're very different phones indeed, and these were launched on September 10th, 2013, discontinued in September 2015. Now, let's take a moment to go ahead and test out gaming. Now, gaming, the dual jump does not work on iOS 8, but let's test it on iOS 10. If you run in airplane mode, you don't get ads, so... My phone really has really bad autofocus. So that's how gaming performs. You cannot run PUBG on here, but you can run Minecraft on here because PUBG requires a 64-bit processor and this is a 32-bit processor. And architecture, so you can only get... So, in the iOS 8 revision models for the 8 gig models were only available from 2014, so I forgot to talk about the camera. That's pretty important. So the camera has these modes right here. You don't get slow-mo on here, as that didn't come till 5S. And on the back camera, you get an 8 megapixel camera, and on the front, you get a 1.2 megapixel camera, which is very mediocre. It was good enough for a time, but for now, it's kind of trash. This iPhone 5C is kind of laggy, so you get Siri, you get Retina display, all that good stuff. So that's kind of cool, but now let's talk about something. Now let's do a touchscreen responsiveness test to see how fast touchscreens can respond. You get iOS 10, which is the Max OS, which is still pretty usable. So now we're going to see how many times you can tap till 15 seconds. Get a little bit more on iOS 8, but that's just how well touchscreens work. Hello, don't you want to go back to home? These phones are kind of being butts today. They're not my friends. Oh, okay, so clock is responding. Hang on, guys, I've got to go ahead and do a hard reboot on these. Neither of these phones are liking me today. Cool. So now overall, should you buy so you can connect an Apple Watch and such to it, but now let's talk about the more essential aspect. Now, you're not going to be able to use the iPhone 5C on like iOS 7 or something, but you will be able to use it on iOS 10. Okay, but make sure, do not get an 8 gig or 16 gig mall. So overall, that's why I'd recommend no. But if you just want a phone that you can like use, or maybe one for a backup phone, sure, go ahead. Now, an important thing to remember when buying these iPhone 5Cs is that, especially the white ones, the white plastic can really yellow. Like, my mom had a white iPhone 3GS back in the day, which is also made of plastic. Taking a look at my Apple Touch 5 home button until it's kind of yellow. My iPhone 3G and 3GS are black, but I was going to show you. So this was the only iPhone to continue on carrying the plastic design. You can tell taking a look at 3G and 3GS, here's the black plastic designs. Now it's time to explain why the iPhone 5C failed. So it was released alongside the iPhone 5S, but let's take a look. So as you can tell, you got a way more premium finish and overall design on the 5S compared to the 5C. As you can tell right here. But you also got a better camera on the 5S, well, slightly better. Not only that, but the price points weren't really that big of a difference. Since the iPhone 5C, sure, it started at $99, but that was for a 16 gig model. The iPhone 5S started at $199, which is also for a 16 gig model. But of course, 16 gigabytes of storage is not enough for anybody, even for the time. So of course you end up spending about 500 some bucks for a 5C and 600 some bucks for the highest end 5S. So that was the 5C overall was only about $100 cheaper than the 5S. Now let's take a look at the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro prices. The iPhone 11 currently starts at $699, which is $700. The iPhone 11 Pro starts at $1,000, which is $300 cheaper, different already. And of course, if the $300, let's take the iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone SE. The iPhone SE starts at $400 versus the iPhone 11 Pro starts at $1,000. That's a $600 difference already. Comparing the SE to 11, that's already a $300 difference. So therefore, the 5C just wasn't that cheaper, and you got 2 more years of support on the 5S versus the 5C, which stopped at iOS 10, and the 5S stopped at iOS 12. So, in the long run, the iPhone 5S was a better choice. With the iPhone SE, they did fix that. But in 2014, Apple went and did the dumb thing. So they made it so that you could only buy an 8 gig model, which is not enough storage for anybody, even for the time. So therefore, buying an iPhone 5C was useless. But apparently, these people who bought these phones didn't think it was useless, for they obviously like these phones enough. Now, this phone is literally right here. Is literally my personal phone that I got from eBay from April 2019 all the way to August of 2020. August 2019, excuse me, not 2020. And 8 gigabytes of storage. I was constantly deleting pictures and just wasn't enough storage for me. That's what led me to get a 16 gig 5S for my grandma. And that's what I used up until March, when I got my mother's old iPhone 8 Plus, which is what I'm filming on now. So just to recap, should you buy the iPhone 5C 7 years later in today's modern times? No, unless you want like a backup phone or an iPod or something. But overall, I'd say no, just because there's lots of better iPhone deals out there, and who knows how long the 5C is going to stay usable. Follow me on Twitter, iTunes Fanboy YT. Follow me on Instagram, The iTunes Fanboy. Please no spam followers. Check out my other channel, Fanboy Films Productions, and please subscribe to both of my channels. And peace out.